Oh, well, hi there. This is Chase Swift. Actually, I'm going to put on these headphones because I forgot my mic is right here. Many of you, if you're watching this video, it's probably because you may have done a search for how many years does it take to become a photographer. And I am a photographer, and I'm going to explain a little bit about that. And I will answer your question. And I actually took some thought about this answer because I really want to help people that are actually looking for a good answer in how many years does it take to become a photographer. Now I'm in a Google Hangout, which allows me to have this webcam on me, and then it allows me also to share my screen. Okay, so I need to mute something here. Sorry, I gotta. Okay, so apologize for that. I had the video that's on this Hangout page start, and it kind of threw me off. So hang with me if you don't mind, and I will answer how many years does it take to become a photographer. I'm going to share my story with you, and I think many of you will. I think it'll help you. I really do. So give me a moment. I'm going to switch over from the webcam to share my screen. Okay, so I can share some things here. All right, so what you'll see right now is the Google Hangout page that is created when you create a Hangout. So that was the video that was playing. Now, I apologize, but I really took some notes here, and I need to make that bigger because it's just way too small. So some of you are going to see what I've written, of course, but it just keeps me focused on sharing the story and the information that I wanted to. Okay, so I apologize. I'm going to read this, but it's good information. And then towards the end, I'm going to show you more examples of the types of photography that I do. So bookmark this, come back later if you're short on time. But I think this will be really helpful to a lot of you. So here I am. I'm Chase Swift, and as you know, and like I said, I found that a lot of people are doing the search for how many years does it take to become a photographer. Now, I have been, and this is just helping me remember everything I wanted to talk about, but I've been a freelance nature photographer since the early 90s. Now, that nature photography is, everybody loves that, but I really did. I really enjoyed it. And I have learned a lot, both on my own and from formal education. I actually went to Brooks Institute in Santa Barbara, California. So the answer for me was that it took about 8 years. Now, if you're like, well, geez, that's a long time. Well, remember, I was a nature photographer, and not that it took me a long time to figure out how to take pictures. It took me a long time to figure out how to make money from my photographs. That's the key. Okay. Now, this is an important point. I do not remember the actual photographer that told me this, but someone told me that if you can take really good pictures, and this is still true today, those photos can sell over and over and over again because they can be used in many, many different ways. Now, that really struck me way back, and it was in the mid 80s, probably, I think, 1988, actually, the late 80s. So that really struck me as a profound way to make money. That you can do something once and get paid for it over and over. Okay, so I decided I was going to start working for that. And in 1998, after my formal education, after working at a stock agency, which I'll talk about, I was able to earn enough money from my photography to not to need to work at a job. And I have had some definitely lucky breaks, but then people say that luck, and I agree with this, that is being prepared when the right situation presents itself. Okay. So for the nature wildlife photographer, it can take some time to actually become a photographer when you can support yourself. But if you wanted to become a wedding photographer, I could see someone starting and becoming independent, like earning a living from that in probably a year. Again, it depends on you. Okay. So it all depends on who you are, how determined you are, what type of photography you choose. And then if you have that inevitable phase of luck, that you will encounter. Everyone will get lucky at some point if they are determined and don't give up. Now, my last job was the digital specialist at Westlight. It was in Los Angeles. The company has been bought out, but it was a great company, and I worked there for 5 years. It was a photo library. So what I really learned there could not be taught in a book or in a class. It was real life, okay? And I'm going to show some images from some of my mentors. And some of my images that you can see online towards the end of this video. But I wanted to answer the question as best I could, okay? So I'd also like to offer some additional advice towards the end of this video, in that if you are seriously really looking to become a photographer, that you consider an alternate, I should say, income source from the internet. Now, I did not have the ability to earn money from the internet back in the early 90s. But those of you that are watching this video, you do have that opportunity, okay? So right now I have an awesome side business that I work for a couple hours a day, not because I have to, because I really like it. And what this allows me to do is buy equipment, travel, take any online courses or real life courses or workshops, or it helps when you have extra money, because photography is expensive. You already know that, okay? So this side business has leverage, okay? Now I want to talk about leverage. Some of you know what that means, but it means that the work I do it once, and it pays me over and over and over, just like that day back in the late 80s when I heard about taking good photographs that sell over and over and over again, okay? So I do want to share my experience with you. So those of you that are searching for how many years does it take to become a photographer. So whether or not you choose to work with me does not matter, okay? The advice to earn money in a powerful way off the internet still applies, and you may not find it right away, but maybe I can help, okay? Now, I have a link here. Now, you'll find out about what I'm doing online. I'm not going to explain that now, okay? Just click on this My Inspired Media link. Just come to this link, and you'll be able to see what I'm doing online, okay? Now, let me just point out that all my information is free, but the information about what my business is sent via email. And you'll obviously have the chance to connect with me and ask me more questions. But what's good about the system is that it explains everything up to you right up front, okay? So I do want to thank you, and I will get to the part where I want to share some things about the photography and things like that. And by the way, if you like this video, give me a like. I would appreciate that. And another thing, if you want to comment on this video, if you have a question, just comment on, if you're on this page, you can comment, I believe. But if not, comment on the YouTube video, okay? And I'll answer your questions, okay? So let's go and share a little bit about the types of photography that I do, and just the fact that for me, nature photography took a while. It's just not instantaneous. So you're seeing a lot of different pictures here. And unfortunately, I really can't blow them up really quickly. But let me just point out that whatever you decide to do, you will come across opportunities, and you need to think outside the box sometimes. Like in this case, this was in the San Diego Zoo. It's, when you think of a peacock, and the reason why peacocks are actually used, you'll see them used in the screens of TVs for advertising. Why is that? Well, because they're so beautiful. And so in this case, when I saw this happen in the San Diego Zoo, I was like, oh my gosh. And you'll notice the lighting is very soft. It was in the shade, or it was an overcast day, as I recall. And so that just played in, because if there were harsh shadows and hard to see, this image would not be as great as it is. And it's a good one. It's a In fact, all these images at Corbis, this is the company that bought Westlight. So I was working there, and then Corbis bought Westlight. So my images became part of the Corbis library. And Corbis is owned by Bill Gates. I don't know Bill Gates personally, but yes, he owns the company, and yes, it's a pretty awesome company. So I'm just going to go through a few more here. Now, being creative, water drops and details like this are awesome. And this was photographed in my home. Go get, if you know a vet, you know, a veterinarian that takes care of animals, sometimes they'll have an IV bag that they're not using. And what's cool about it is that it has a little drip control, and you can put that right above a pan or a pail of water or something like that. It doesn't have to be very deep. That's how I took these photographs. And I used with flash, and the flash is hitting the background, and I have a blue gel on it, so it's slightly blue, and wonderful water drops. And I did this for about a week. I had the best time. So I would encourage you sometimes, and I learned this from a lot of my mentors, sometimes taking the photograph is what you can do inside your home. Okay? I mean, you don't have to travel very far. And I got stunning. I mean, look at that little drop right up there. That is so, it's just so cool. So that's pretty cool. Now, the other thing is you can do is travel. And I love travel. And you need to make your story, your images tell a story. Now, the palm trees, Hollywood Boulevard, is there any doubt this is California? No, because of the palm trees, it's an iconic symbol of Hollywood in California. Now, it's not a great seller. Actually, Hollywood here, the Hollywood sign, this is computer manipulated. Let me be upfront, okay? Now, that gets me to a point in that I had to learn how to make money with primarily wildlife, which is really hard because everybody is a wildlife photographer in a way, right? I mean, we all have cameras, we all have this and that. So I learned I had to be really creative and do different images. And a lot of times that included using the computer when I could. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about every image, but I'm going to just scroll through simple images sometimes. Now the background is not great. I honestly, it's distracting a little bit, right? Can you see that? Yeah. But sometimes signs are very profound, and anytime you can get in the right situation, and signage is actually, it makes me a lot of money. In fact, I had a stop sign. Let me tell you, I had a stop sign that sold for $3,000. Okay, so they needed it. It was something they couldn't get, and so I'm just pointing out that my experience is that you can just, whatever you do, you're going to be presented with opportunities. Don't pass them up. Okay. Now, I had the idea of, like, you hear about money going down the drain and all that. This is a 5-gallon water jug that you get at a grocery store. I just bought it. I don't know. Was it $5 maybe? Cut off the bottom and just inverted it and poured water out of a hose right into this. It made this beautiful swirl. Of course, it was already blue, and this is outdoors, and I just shot, just holding my lens. It was a longer lens so I could zoom in and focus on this whirlwind. And I think it's cool, and something that you can do at home. Okay, something you can do at home. Let me just point out that people are your money makers. Okay, so if you're a wedding photographer, you're going to make a lot of money because people need pictures of the wedding. They're going to pay a lot. Now, not everyone needs a picture of a nice deer. Okay, the deer is wonderful, it's beautiful, it's amazing, but you're not going to make a whole lot of money shooting deer. Okay, so you're going to have to, I had to, but do it nicely. Do it with nice light, an overcast day. Work with models, get a release, get them to sign the fact that they are willing to allow you to use and market the images, and give them a print in compensation for your taking their photos and using them and stuff like that. Okay, so that's pretty good advice. Let's see, what else can I show you here that is good? Oh, here's the speed limit sign. Okay, nice and clear background. It's amazing how many times I've sold signs. So don't shoot every sign, but sometimes you just, I mean, that's a really clear thing, because businesses use the negative space for, type and conceptual stuff and all that. So signs are pretty big. I'm going to skip around. Let's jump around. I wish I could talk about every one of these, but that would be boring. Okay, now this one. Okay, you're seeing a series of photographs of kids and their dogs. Kids and their pets are awesome, so they just light up. I didn't have to say, are you happy? They were just naturally happy. But what was happening was I was photographing these older kids first, and they're doing fine. The dog looks great. By the way, I had a diffusion mask over the top, a diffusion flat, and the sun was streaming down, and it's created soft light with no shadows, no harsh shadows. It's a wonderful thing. I may do a video on that because it's so powerful. But I did the older kids, and then look at this. The youngest boy, he was waiting, and then he got chance with his puppy, and this was so natural. I couldn't have made him say, "Oh yeah, get in this great pose." He just did it. Okay, he just did it. It's awesome. Have some fun and try to think of things that are different. Now, this dog loved, he's a Jack Russell, he loved to go up and just snap at the water. And so we just did it. And look, I used a long telephoto lens and it blurred out the background so you see detail. A lot of times people will buy images that have action that's really different with negative space up here. Sorry for the phone there, but you need to think about negative space, places where they're going to put text on their images, okay? Or like for a magazine, okay? Baseball, don't pass up. Now, this is not copyright, or this is not copyright released. I could not get copyright releases on all the players, but it's a pretty nice general shot of baseball. A very nice field. It's general, okay? So I just took advantage of the situation. I want to talk about this one. I had a friend, I don't know what he was doing, but he made this hangman's noose. I realize it's a morbid subject, but it's done with a nice long lens, a nondescript background, and hopefully it's used and say, don't think of doing this, or whatever. I don't know how the photo will be used. I just love concepts, okay? Let's skip around. Let's go down. Let's go to page. I guess I got 3 pages of images here. This is a pretty profound. This is in Yellowstone when it was really cold. There it goes. And I had the ability to play with filters and even in Photoshop later, but to accentuate the blue and the cold. And anytime there's a feeling, there's a mood to a photograph, and you have to learn to really make it clear and obvious what the mood and the feeling is. Okay, so this is sold quite a few times because it just is like winter. It's a Christmas card thing. There's negative space over here and all sorts of stuff. So it has done pretty well, actually. Let's see here. Now, that you're noticing a lot of wildlife, and again, it's awesome. This is a beautiful shot of a cougar, a mountain lion, but it has not sold as much times as other things have. So I would say I'm a wildlife photographer and a nature photographer, but I also recognize when I need to photograph people and do it in a really good way, because the people images, the other things will sell listen to this, 10 times more than images of nature. And when you do, this one was, I photographed a camel in a zoo. I photographed the dry lake bed in California. And I really accentuated the feeling of hot and dry, because a water company or something, or, you know, they're going to use an image like this because it's hot and dry, and it just feels like, you know, I'm already getting thirsty. So think about your concept. There's got to be a reason why the photo is being taken. Okay, why is that? And a lot of other times, I'll talk about this image where I was standing. This is in Katmai National Park. All the other photographers are standing right next to me. So you have to think, why are my images going to sell when I'm standing right next to 10 other photographers shooting the same thing? Okay, so it's a good lesson that you might love the action, you might love the nature, but if you're standing next to 10 people, how are you going to make 10 times the money if it's the same photo that they have? Okay, so that's where you have to get creative and think outside the box, and come up with something different. Let me think here. Where can I find something that's really good? Well, here we go. I'll give you a tip. Entertainment, movie theaters, seats. You saw earlier I had seats in an airplane. Okay, this was a piece of cake. It was actually during a flight, early when 747, the new 747 came out, and the whole back of the plane was empty. Now, I took a photo because why? Airplanes sell seats on airplanes. And so if they're going to have a sale, they're going to say, hey, we have all these seats available, but they're going to go fast. I don't know what, but that could be an ad. And they're going to use your image or mine, and that is going to be an ad. And they're going to have to darken out a little bit maybe, or just put big text, or maybe it's an insert into an article about how the airline industry is hurting. Why? Because there aren't as many people flying. I don't know. Take advantage of the situation when you see something like this, or when you're in a situation in a movie theater, when you can shoot that. It's awesome. Okay, it's just really awesome. Okay, now here's another situation where I could shoot in this theater, and look, there's just it's screaming for the play or the actor or the whatever. And so, yeah, I'm a nature photographer, but this shot does not sell as much as this shot does. Okay, I'm just telling you. Try to think of shooting really nicely lit images that invoke a concept or a feeling, or it's an element where they can use it for advertising. Okay, advertising is a biggie, and I shoot a lot for advertising. Not every image is for advertising, but a lot of my images are. And I love the wildlife, and I try to do my best, but I'll flat out tell you that it's the images of people and other things that do really well as in addition to that. Let's see, what else can I do? Here's an idea. If you love wildlife like I do, check out the raptor centers. And a lot of times they have injured birds that can't fly, and you'll be able to get really close details. And they appreciate maybe a donation. I think I paid $150 to photograph, I think 2 or 3 hours, or 2 or 3 owls for about 2 hours, maybe about an hour and a half, I think, something like that. But I brought some diffusion flat material. So this is a soft, kind of like a softbox. And the light from the sun was coming in here, and it was really soft. You can see the reflection of the light box or the diffusion flat in the eye. Then I had a reflector over here to push in or light up the shadowed side. And just a beautiful, nice image of an owl. And that has sold, okay? That's a detail Okay, think about it. How many people get this close to an owl and have nice lighting on it? Okay, not so many. So you got to be, you can't be just taking average pictures like everybody else. You have to think outside the box. Okay, so I want to go back in. Let's go. I realize I'm getting a little long, but if you're watching this, you're enjoying it. So let me go to my advanced search, and I'm going to put in my mentor, Craig Arness. Okay, Aurnes. And I want to look for, let's do search here. He's one of my mentors, and he's awesome. He's unfortunately passed away, but he shot National Geographic images. And in fact, I encourage you, let me show you. Okay, here's his name right there. Okay, Craig Arness. Craig, Aurnes. Go ahead and come to Corbis and look up Craig. He's just got so many. I mean, look at this. The next time it's foggy, here's a big tip. I will promise you this. This is a promise. You take a shot like this, you will sell it. Lots of negative space. Do it differently. Don't copy it exactly. Think about what you could do. If you had a person just outside the frame, maybe that would help, like a silhouette of somebody. The dangers of, I don't know what, that could be good. Think about how could you improve that. But I'm telling you, the element of danger or the unknown, just fog in itself. And if you come up, you have a foggy morning, some morning or some evening, get your friend, get your spouse, say, hey, go drive the car 20 feet away and I'm going to take some pictures, because fog does not happen all the time. It does not. So you need to take advantage of those types of situations. I will tell you, if you have a good portfolio and you have some really well lit, get horizontal, vertical, with people without, the lights on, parking lot. Just try to think of everything. And many of you have digital cameras, so you can just shoot 100 pictures and you'd probably have that covered. And it's a really powerful image. It really is. You got to love things like that. I mean, you just can't go wrong. That's so creative. You just, when you see, if you ever see anything like that, awesome. Okay. Now, arrows, also, if you ever get the chance, I realize it's hard. I realize. In fact, if you want to break in and make more money quicker, get aerials. They're hard. This is a hard shot, but a fantastic one, because not everybody can do it. Roads, powerful. I mentioned that. Signs, roads, and here in Colorado where I live, we get these beautiful clouds, and that says agriculture, that says your future, it says so many things. So roads, especially with a little car way off in the distance, these are great images. Craig has great images. Okay, here's another aerial. I mean, the intersection of life, there's so many good things here. Farming, okay, you don't have to get a release of the tractor or the property, but do it well with some negative space, okay, and so that someone can put in text about their product or about their service. Okay, awesome stuff. And just take advantage of all the situations. When you get, it was one year I went to California, and it was one of those terrific bloom years, and I did not take advantage of it like I should have. And so when you see something as glorious as this, take advantage of it. It doesn't always last. Okay. So check out more of Craig. If you see an image here, it is probably sold. Okay. If you like waves, this is nature photography, and very powerful. Waves are very powerful. Think about the top of the negative space for a headline of a magazine or a product. They're going to want to put some advertising here, or down below, try to blur it out or do something creatively. So, and then the power of waves is just awesome. Okay. So I hope I'm giving you some ideas. Rainbows are awesome, but man, they are hard. This is great, but there's nothing else really here. If you had a silhouette of the Eiffel Tower, golden. Okay, so think about it. You might be able to silhouette this with something else, or the shape of a person. If you took this picture and then, yes, with Photoshop or something else, or you had a silhouette of a person there, or a couple, intimate, not intimate, but, you know, looking towards each other, silhouetted, golden opportunity. Okay, you can make that happen if you have the image and then do a silhouette of people, do something there. That image can make you money because it's beautiful and it says something. Okay. All right. I could go on and on. In fact, I probably will do more images. And remember the people shots. How many people, think of this, how many people have shots of welding at sunrise that looks good? See, that's the key. Craig knew that no one would have this type of image. I mean, welding is big business because it means a big building is going on. It means big city. It means people with a lot of money are going to buy an ad, or they're going to say, oh, we have a new building going up. They're going to want to use something like this. Okay. This could be a buddy if you know the welder, and you could set up, you know, it doesn't have to be the city lights, but something nice with a beautiful sunrise. Think of the color, make it look fun. Welding is not fun, but make it look beautiful and fun. Craig was awesome at that. He was really good, okay? Aerials, I know, tough. You won't be able to get this picture, but trust me, if you had this, oh my gosh, the oil industry and shipping, and you got a point of view from a helicopter, that's you're going to have to pay for this one to get it. It's not easy because you just cannot have a helicopter in front of a oil tanker, right? Major liability. So this was probably on assignment for National Geographic, okay? So I could go on. Craig is just an awesome photographer. What a great mentor. I worked for him for 8 years, and some of the best things, and that's what really helped me as a photographer, and the ability to be successful. And it took me, yeah, about 8 years. Okay. So anyway, I appreciate you hanging out, checking this video out. I will do more as I can in the future. And it's getting late here. I should have turned on the lights. I appreciate your questions, and I hope this helped. And take my advice. Learn how to make some money on the internet so you can afford the equipment, the education, the travel that photography entails. Okay? If you want to check out what I have, you saw the links, and comment, like this photo, or this image photo. Anyway, I enjoyed this. I hope you did too. Have a great day and God bless. Bye for now.